Oh,
Hello, 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 everyone.
okay.
Welcome to Ask the Nanny. Tonight, we are going to be talking about nannies who care for four plus children, whether it be nanny share or all in one family. I have my special guests here with me, Tasha and Tara, and Jayla will be joining us shortly. Excuse me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you while I share this with my groups. So we'll start with you, Tasha.
Hi, I'm Tasha Wilson. I am with College Sitters. I have been a nanny for 5 years. I've also been in education for 5 years. Education is one of those things that was my calling that kept on finding me. So I'm thankful to be in a different capacity to be able to bless and reach our families in different ways. So I've worked in public, private, and charter. And my background is actually in communications. I was a journalist before I became an educator. So, one fun fact that I love to share with everyone is when I am not traveling, cooking, and doing all the awesome things with my wonderful husband, Kevin. We've only been married a year. And we're doing other than that, doing stuff for our wonderful church, Bamel Church of Christ. I am a Murder She Wrote fan. When I tell you Murder She Wrote is my jam, I'm talking about and the reason why it's my jam is because my granny, God rest her soul, that was my thing as a kid that I would watch with her, in addition to
Oh,
Rock, Jason, all those. But Murder She Wrote, that's my jam. So thankful for that and thankful to be here.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Miss Tara.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tara Lindsay. I'm a career nanny. I live in the Metro Detroit area. I have been a nanny for 29 years now, and I absolutely love it.
You do
I'm
not look that old.
I'm
You look
47. Yeah.
really
um,
okay. So
yeah.
I know. I don't mean to interrupt
No, that's fine.
but I'm just looking at you. I'm like, Earl.
You look amazing. Amazing.
Thank
For real.
you.
You do not look like
Thank you.
you're 20. Have been nanny for 29. I know. I'm just like, really?
I
Seriously?
needed to hear that
Okay.
because I'm
I'm sorry.
feeling
Keep going.
old. I'm feeling old because I have a hysterectomy scheduled in a few weeks, and so I needed to hear that. Thank you. Um,
Oh, been there, done that.
yeah. So I've been a nanny for 29 years, and I am the co-founder and director of the Michigan Professional Nanny Association, which is a network, just a support network for nannies. Fun fact about me is that when I am not working or volunteering or being a couch potato, I sing with a semi-professional choir that I miss desperately because of COVID right now.
Oh,
It's an amazing community, and we actually had the opportunity a couple years ago, 2 years ago. We sang by invitation at Carnegie Hall, which was kind of a huge bucket list thing that had never even been on my bucket list. I never thought it was something that would happen. So that's my fun fact.
wow. That's cool. I like, well, see, I went to school when I went to college. Um, I had a scholarship where I was in the Vesper choir, and
Ooh.
I got a scholarship, and that paid for half of my schooling. That scholarship, but they say if you don't use it, you lose it.
Mhm.
I bet you'd
I
get it back.
can
It just
sing the
takes
Five Little
practice.
Monkeys. I put it like that. I'm famous for my Five Little Monkeys rendition. So anything Five Little Monkeys, I'm down there with you. Other than
Well, I
that,
will tell you, I am definitely one of the weak links in this group. I mean, I had to audition to get in, but I still, hear some of these people saying, and I think to myself, I know I can carry the tune, but I know there is no way I sound as pretty as you do. Um,
hello,
but it's,
that's me. That's
But I'm pretty good with them.
want,
I sing a mean lullaby to a crying baby. So
hello. I see
Awesome.
when I get when I get frustrated and I can't figure out, okay, I've changed you, I birthed you, you're fed. Why are you still crying? And I start singing Jesus Loves Me, and it calms it down. I was like, okay, thank you, Lord, for carrying my voice to me to soothe this baby, because I'm like, all right, this is not the Five Little Monkeys. I
right.
can't
And
sing it the same
do you
song.
find that like do you find that like every baby kind of has their own favorite?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Like I have
yes,
different babies. Like when I'm new with them, I'll try kind of all of my standard go-tos, and they all end up like there's just that one song for each of them, and it's different for each of them that they just really respond to, and that becomes their song.
yes. It takes me a few songs to get to it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one. Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it depends on the baby, and boys are different than girls. They,
Exactly. Hmm.
it's like the lower tones are, if I sing in my contralto voice, that they enjoy it, and the girls like the higher pitch. That's why when I use the sound machine, the girls, they can do the white noise. It doesn't bother them. The boys, that white noise, they're like, so I put the brown noise on, and they just kind of settle down. I said, yeah, it is. I don't know what it is with the pitch in their ears. And I know it has something to do with the ears. And I know there's probably a scientific reason.
Hmm.
But my brain is on COVID level right now. So I'm just like, if I could just think straight, I'm doing good. So, but yeah, different children have different things. Now, I'm going to ask you. Wait a minute. Let me say hello to all the people that are watching. Hello, Adrian and NCS Nanny Lauren Matcham and Jennifer D and Helen Butcher and Ingrid Rojas and Leanne Thompson. Thanks for joining us.
Wow.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, have you found that with the kids, it is totally different with each child when you work with a multiple amount of children? I've had a home daycare with 12 children, so I know what works with one child does not work with another child.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things that you find yourself doing with the ones that the more difficult children? What are some of the things that you find yourself doing so that you can have a controlled chaos? Because I mean, with more than 4 kids, it's always something going on. But to keep it under control, that the volume is here and you don't want it to go up here. So to keep that volume right here at just you're not screaming, but you're loud talking. And yeah, what are some of the things that you use to keep it at that level with those difficult children? Because there's always one in every bunch.
Well, I've got a couple. I love them dearly. I love them dearly. I've got 4 right now that are struggling with just having been home since March, and mom and dad home, and I started with them in May, and having a nanny is a new dynamic for them, because they had a baby born in January. So that was the reason for hiring a nanny. And I heard the best thing the other day, and I don't know who to attribute it to. They talk about like, juggling all these balls and which ones do you let drop? And
Right.
the idea was that some balls are plastic and some balls are glass. And you just need to know it's okay to drop the plastic balls because you can pick them up later. You have to know which ones are the glass ones that you can't drop. So if I've got a kid who's on the verge of a meltdown, that's the glass ball I can't drop. So the baby banging on his tray with a spoon because he wants more puffs, that one I can hang on, like that one I can let go for 30 seconds. And so for me, it's a matter of mentally prioritizing which need is greater right in this moment. and everybody knows I'm going to get to them. And and I have to say sometimes, give me 1 second and I'm going to be right with you. I know what you need is A, B, C, and D. And as soon as I handle this, then I can come help you. And most of the time that keeps my sanity, because for me, saying it out loud, like I'm going to prioritize A, B, C, helps me feel less stressed. Like it's kind of like that verbal list instead of a written list of what I need to do.
Exactly. I have a problem sometimes because when I know what I need to do, and I concentrate better when I'm in my head. I'm like, okay, do this first, do that first, do this, and do that. But kids can't hear you thinking. So they will continue, Miss Angela, Gigi. And I'm like, just keep working, just keep doing it, you're going to get it done. But I need to verbalize to them, okay, I'm coming. That's all they need to hear. Okay, I'm coming. Tasha, how do you handle it?
And that hit the nail right on the head. It's definitely prioritizing, but also making sure that up front before we even start the day, because I've had a max of 6, mind you, 6 girls. And all of them were on different levels. And there's a that they really want your attention. And I noticed that they have to be my leaders. So in the process, I try to help them to kind of help one another while I'm working with little sister, for example, who cannot communicate to me that needs to go and different things, but having them work with that and reiterating, it's okay. I know I can't get to you right now, but let me allow sister to help you put on that shoe. Let me allow sister to help you open this paint at this very moment, because little bitty sister, little bitty princess, she can't tell me that she's had a blowout, okay? She has to let me, I have to be able to smell her and different things or whatever and send to her. But creating those activities with like creating that time with my kids and different things, and trying to keep them on task and having them something to do in the meantime, in between time, while I care for even the littlest bitty ones, is what's helpful for me. So prioritizing and making sure that I'm as kind and firm and consistent as possible.
Now, yeah, I think that consistency is key too. Like, and it, for me, it's been helping these kids, because I mean, I'm a new adult to trust, right? But they need to learn to trust that if I say you're next, they know they're next, right? Like, and that I've communicated to them, this is the order I need to do things, or this is what's going on, or this is what you can do to help me get to you faster. But following through on it, that consistency of, they know that if I said we're going to, like, first, let me finish changing the baby's diaper so he doesn't kick poop all over the house.
Yes.
Then I need to wash my hands, and then I'm happy to get you a glass of water. If you need it right now, you can get it for yourself, because it's something he knows how to do. I have to make sure that I follow through, because otherwise, if you don't have that consistency, then of course they're going to be anxious. And when there's 4 or 5 of them that are anxious because they don't know that you're going to be consistent, that just raises that level of chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Like this,
Right.
Oh, yeah. And you are on a whole nother level there.
Yeah. Oh,
go ahead, Tasha.
Okay.
I know you had something to say. That's why I was like, okay, here it comes.
Well, I mean, that's something in that consistency. Also, you also have to be firm, but also be loving as well. I have some kids that, like I said, they try you because you're that new adult in person. And then on top of that, it's the fact that they listen what they want with mommy and daddy, but then I use that also as an opportunity to expand to them. No, it's not just about listening to mommy and daddy. It's about listening to all adults. The idea is to keep you safe. So, in other words, you can't kick that gas line, okay? You can't do certain things because, regardless if it's mommy or daddy, we still have to be safe and using every opportunity as a lesson for them in some form of way, in some form of fashion. That's it.
Yeah.
So do you all have like daily chores that the kids do? And when I say chores, I mean like the 8, 9-year-old, you get the forks and spoons and put them on the table. You go get the cups and put them on the table, and you get the plates and put them on the table. And, or do they clean up behind each other? Because I had 5 boys in the house, and there's one of me and 5 of y'all, and none of y'all know how to cook. So guess what? Somebody gonna clean up.
Mm-hmm.
So do you all have like daily chores, or do you rotate the chores? Just simple things that do you make them responsible for certain things for themselves?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in if the child is capable of doing it for themselves, then they need to be doing it for themselves. Sometimes I'm not perfect at following that. And sometimes, if a kid's having a rough day, yes, I know they're capable of getting their own drink of water, but me getting it for them might help make their day a little less rough today, then I'm happy to do it. I do believe that participating in the household and helping out with the things they can help out with is necessary and important for everybody. I think that's part of how confidence is developed. I think it's how we help develop compassion and being a participant in the world around you. It's like we have, like the 2 oldest are responsible for emptying the dishwasher. No, they don't empty the glassware, but they do empty all of the kid dishes, all the plastic dishes, and all of the silverware. And one gets to choose one, and the other one gets the other part of it. And that's every other day, maybe. They have some responsibilities with their own, like putting away their own laundry. The older 2, the 4-year-old helps me with hers. The baby doesn't even walk yet, so he doesn't have a lot of chores.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of chores. You get to
But I do
ride.
call them back. Like if they leave their dishes on the counter at lunchtime, if they leave their dishes, like they know I'm going to call them back and I'm just going to point to their plates. Yes. And I don't even ask them to put it in the dishwasher. Just get it into the sink for me, because when I've got 10 minutes, I can take care of everything in the sink. But leaving it out on the counter drives everybody mad, including the dog who wants your food that's on your plate on the counter.
Of course. He's like, oh, opportunity. Let me pounce. And you're like, no, go. Come get this plate. The dog is trying to attack your plate.
Exactly.
Yes. So you all have, how do you, or if you transport them, do you use your car? Do you have a nanny car? Or do you all just go to the park in the neighborhood or whatever?
Thankfully, as far as transporting through my company, I haven't had to do that. But one of the key things that I do ask with my families is there a neighborhood park? I do believe in surveying the area and making sure that they have some form of neighborhood park or a wonderful backyard that we can go out and we can play. We can set up a sensory table. We can utilize that to take our breaks and stuff. But definitely in reiterating back to making sure that they understand, because I also noticed that a lot of kids, they try to play and make it seem as though like, you're responsible for cleaning up after them. And that's one of the things that I try to reiterate is that, we're going to learn to clean up, even if we got to play the cleanup song, because I do have a cleanup song for some of my kids. I do.
I know that song too.
I can't get away from the cleanup song. I taught pre-K. So I mean, I can't get away from that because that's the beginning stages of everything. You need to learn how to be accountable and clean up behind yourself and realize that, you know, adults, you know, and even if mommy and daddy, they might do it for you. That's not me. You know, we're gonna learn some responsibility on this front. So yes.
I had a child tell me his and that was probably he had allergies. He had severe allergies, and mom and dad coddled him, and he's getting ready to go to kindergarten. He comes out of the bathroom with his pants wide open. I'm like, close your pants. My mom and daddy are my snappers.
Mm.
Say what? I was like, oh, wait. Back up. What? You're almost 5 years old. Now I can see if you even attempted to snap it, and you know some of the pants they are hard to snap. I get it, and those little pincer muscles are not developed. Well, his were very underdeveloped. When he told me my parents are my snappers, I was like, okay, we're gonna have to unsnap, you know, let mama and daddy step back so you can snap. He wouldn't put his coat on, he wouldn't put his shoes on. They dressed him. And when he did that day, I told mom and daddy, I said, look, I understand that he is hi Christina, how are you? And hi and Angel Lee, how are you? And hi Meaches, how are you? Um, But that day, I told his mom and dad, no, I need you to back away. Either get up in plenty of time so he can have an extra 20 minutes to to make up his mind that he wants to do it himself. I said, because from now on, I'm going to be working with him so that he can dress himself. He is almost 5 years old. He won't pull his pants on. He won't try putting his shoes on. And it took me to the point of we were supposed to go outside. And I said, okay, it's time for us to go outside. And he just stood there and looked at me. I said, go get your shoes. I don't know where they are. Have you looked for them? So he goes looking, he just stands there and goes looking around like this. I'm thinking to myself, try going over there by the door where the shoe rack is where you left them this morning. But I mean, it's like he was so used to everybody doing everything for him that he just stood there like, okay, I just know you're gonna come and bring me my shoes, and you're going to do what I would do, what you need to do, and okay, so yeah, that's gonna be it, and we're gonna be good. And I'm like, no, this is not good. And
Yeah.
when mom and dad, and I told them that we were getting ready to go outside, I said, this is what your child reacts to. This is how your child reacts. And so when he, I had them watch, they had cameras. I had them watching on the camera. And I was like, yeah, you all need to watch. Okay, I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, I'm hearing an echo.
It's not me. I don't think my end shut down, but I'm still on my computer.
Okay. Trying to see if I hear myself. Okay. Maybe it took time to adjust. But as I said, they were watching on camera and they were watching their child. And when I was telling him, I said, okay, I need you to put your shoes on. Go get your shoes. And he just stood there and looked. And I said, go over by the door. That's where they are. Go get your shoes. And he turned around and looked at the door. He turned back and looked at me. And he turned and looked at the door. I said, I'm not going to get them for you. You're perfectly capable of going to get your own shoes. And we're going to sit down and we're going to put them on. So he got the shoes, and then he comes back. He hands them to me and stood there. as if, okay, what's next? And I'm thinking, if you are 4.5 years old and you want to go outside, you can't go out without a coat on. You can't go out without shoes on. All the rest of the kids are going to grab their stuff, and we're getting ready to head outside. And he's standing there like, okay,
What I'm supposed to do.
yes. So, and I told the parents after that little incident, I told them, I said, this is why we need to start letting him do things for himself. Hi, Jada. Thanks for joining us. This is why we need to let him start doing things for himself, because when he goes to kindergarten, he is going to be expected to put his shoes on, to be able to get dressed, grab his backpack, hold a pencil, do all these different things that he is dependent upon someone else to do right now.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. But I do have a question for you. What happens
Okay.
when that snaps back at you? Because I've had a family and who their child is perfectly capable of doing all of that. And still, the parents I think the parent got upset with me when I was trying to help the child do that, generate that. And they were not for it. To adjust. I mean, there's
I love your question because I have
yeah.
a good answer for you.
I hate to say it, but there are some
And it
families who
happens.
like that coddling. They enjoy the coddling of their children, and it baffles me because like I said, I've been through pre-K to middle school. I had a middle schooler, okay, 12 years old, didn't know how to tie his own shoe. Yeah, middle
At
schooler
12,
at 12. And that was a skill that I had to work with him on. Why? Because mommy, daddy, grandma did it for you.
oh, I thought you was going to tell me he wore Velcro and slide on shoes.
No. Just come to school. We just come to class with the shoes all untied. And it's like, really? So that's what we doing? So how do you adjust to that when it bounces back with you? And it baffles me that, like, one day these little people are going to grow up and they're going to be bigger people. And I'm not trying to tell you this. One of the things I believe in is being kind and communication and being thorough with some of my parents. But some people, they just not ready to handle the truth. And I get
You
it.
can't handle the truth.
You're right.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I had another little boy, and this was when I was teaching preschool, and he couldn't cut his little fingers, his little pencil. I had him trying to hold a pencil, and his hand would literally, you could just see it shaking. And I had to put one of those little boosters on there so he could kind of hold it like this. And even then, he was kind of wobbly. And most of the kids, they were 4.5 years old. We're getting ready to go to kindergarten. It is April. They took him out of the 3-year-old class and put him in my class, which was the 4 and 5-year-olds, because mom and dad decided they wanted to put him in a school, and it was a parochial school. And I'm like, he's not ready. Oh, yes, he is. My child, this is my child. Oh, my child, my child, my child. And I'm like, okay. So when we had the parent teacher conference, and I told him he needs to work on his fine motor skills. He needs to work on it. No, he's ready. We're going to take him down, and he's going to take his test next week, and he's going to test out, and he's going to get accepted into that school. And I'm sitting here holding my tongue. I'm like, okay, all right. They came back a week later and apologized to me because he failed. He couldn't write his name. He couldn't hold a pencil. He couldn't cut. He couldn't. And they told him the only way that he was going to get in is if it was May, and he had to be tested again in August in order for him to start school. So in 3 months, you're going to have to push that child to be able to cut, hold a pencil. And they were like, well, we're sorry. They said the very same things that you said. Oh, You accept it from them, but I'm just your child's teacher, you know.
Right.
That's all I.
So I was feeling some kind of way because I was mad. I was like, you know, you do everything for this child. Why are you getting mad at me because of what your child can't do? And then you're in denial because of what your child can't do.
Mhm.
So, what can we do to get him on track? So, I go back in the classroom and I said, here it's some they call unifix blocks. I said, have him to put them together. I said, and have him to take them apart one at a time because you don't want him doing this.
Right.
You want him to take them, and they were small little squares, small enough where he had to work his fingers to pull them apart. I said, give him Play Doh, make him squeeze a ball, give him some paper to rip. I said, that strengthens the muscles. I said, all those trucks that he likes to push, all he has to do is put his hand on top of it and give him I said, and I know this may sound childish. I said, but get him one of those Elmos, that dress me Elmo, where you have to
Mhm.
button, or the Melissa and Doug puzzles where you have to do they have locks. It's like a puzzle full of locks, and
Yeah.
you have to lock them, and it's got like the Velcro, and then it's got one that the hinge, and all of these things. I said they work his fingers. He needs manipulatives now until he takes that test. Well, can you work with him in the classroom? Well, he just got to my class 3 weeks ago.
Mhm.
So, and I can tell you right now, he was nowhere near the kids that I work with, even the children that I had to work with the most. He was nowhere near their capacity because I'd had all year to work with them. And all of a sudden, and the reason he was in the 3-year-old class and not in the 4-year-old class was because he could not, his motor skills were lacking. It was just like he was just limp.
Right.
So,
And I guess one of the things that I think we have fallen away from is the fact that I believe that a lot of parents, and I understand everybody has to work. I came from a single parent household. I get it. I understand. You know, you have to work, or you have a two-parent household and you have to work, or you have to do certain things. But taking the time to do simple things with your kid
Yeah.
makes a big difference because you are the first teachers of the home.
preach, girl.
Next to the nannies, next to the teachers, next to all the community leaders, you're the first teachers of the home. And when we
Mhm.
get that understanding that this is a cycle that's going to continue to be with, and I'll just say, for example, I'm old enough to understand, you know, how to count on my fingers, and young enough to know about technology. I'm 38, so you know, it falls in that. But my fondest memory of my grandmother and my mom was that when I got to pre-K, I already knew how to cut. I knew reading. I knew basic concepts that my mom instilled in me and different things or whatever. And one of the things that I always have to reiterate to a lot of my families is that talk to your babies. Talk to your babies. I'm talking about from the womb all the way
Yeah.
through.
Language
And because
skills.
that builds language skills. And you can't just entrust, you know, the caregivers, just us, to just do everything that you're not doing because it's going to show. And you're
It
going
will.
to be wondering why you're struggling to deal with this when you could have addressed it right there at home, you know? That I don't need to get on the soapbox. I'm gonna stop talking, but that's one of the things that just it baffles me. It does. It baffles me because it's
It
like
does.
you already know what to do. I don't
But
know.
when you are in a big family, everybody works together. And that is important
Mm-hmm.
to me. And when I had my home daycare, everybody had a job. And it, you know, whether it was to make sure that the little ones were, because I was preparing, and we all went outside and we played, but in order for us them the older kids to come home from school and all of us have snack, and you know, wash your hands. Take the little one with you, wash his hands. And I'm standing there and at the door stirring something in the bowl. Okay, make sure they wash their hands. Okay, I'm watching you. I see you. And it takes the 11 and 12-year-old help the 3 and 4-year-old wash their hands properly. And during the day, I showed them how to, because when the older one's not there, it's in the evenings when I'm cooking, making sure I have enough bread or whatever, because my kids came in shifts. I had the before and after school, then I had the ones that were there all day, and then I had the ones that came after school and stayed until, sometimes the next morning or late at night. So I always had, okay, I need to cook a little cornbread. Okay, I need to make sure they have some muffins. I need to make sure, but the main dish I already had cooked, because when I cook for lunch, and I would stay up late at night sometime preparing a meal, splitting it in half, because I knew the little ones, the 2-year-olds, I make a casserole. The 2-year-olds are only going to eat like this much of that casserole. When those older ones come home, the rest of that casserole is going to be gone because they're older and they eat more. So I'm not going to kill myself cooking 3 or 4 times a day. But if I see that I ran out of something, I'll whip up something right quick, and I'll do it as we are transitioning while they're eating snack. I have the muffins in the oven, so by the time they get done and we clean up, the muffins are done. They're sitting on the stove, and we're going outside to play. And while they're cooling off, and then we come back in, and it's dinner time. So, and then we have a transition of those who are leaving and those who are staying. So everybody has a job, so it doesn't kill me. But I also learned that I needed self-care, because caring for a lot of children every day, even in my 24/7 daycare, it takes a lot out of you. So I want to know, what did you do for self-care? What do you all do for self-care to take care of yourself? Because I know when it's a lot of stress when you got 3 people. I want what? And the other one is over here on the floor rolling on circles and round and hanging on to your leg, and your blood pressure is going, okay, breathe, I can do this, I got this, but you're really inside, you're going, yes. What do you do when that happens? How do you calm yourself and keep yourself?
I put the baby in a safe place and go to the bathroom, and I lock the door.
Oh yeah, because they will come in on you.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and with their parents working from home, I just feel like, yeah, I definitely need to lock the door. It doesn't mean they aren't, calling out for me, Miss Tara, Miss Tara.
Or if they don't follow you
fortunate.
to the bedroom.
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate too for self-care in that I live alone. I'm single. I don't have kids of my own. And right now I'm only working 40 and a half hours a week, which is a first for me in my career. I've always worked like between 45 and 50, if not more. So I get to come home at the end of my day, and I don't really get much downtime, but I get to come home at the end of my day, and it's all self-care from there on out, right? So that makes it a little easier for me personally to be able to not necessarily take breaks during the day. Every once in a while, I'll get 5 minutes and I get myself a glass of ice water and take a deep breath. And that's going to change as the older two start. They're going to be doing hybrid schooling at school and at home. So I expect there to be a little more downtime, but because there are 4 kids, I do try to step up a little more with, like it's in my contract, I'm not supposed to clean up after parents, but if they leave dishes out from lunchtime, I'm happy to clean them up because I know that means it gives them, that extra couple of minutes or that nice clean kitchen that she can walk into after her work and, when she comes out of her office. I try to take care of those little things, even if it's not necessarily in my contract right now, so that they can have a little more focus on family time, because I know it's chaotic for them in the evenings too. And I did want to touch back on what you were saying. I think we have to be careful when we're giving kids chores, especially when there are so many children in a home, to not ask the oldest children to always be responsible for the youngest. Yeah, there are times like asking them to help them wash their hands and stuff like that, but I think it becomes so easy sometimes to forget. Like, my oldest is also right now, he's very big for his age, and so it's easy to forget that he's only 9. He's incredibly smart, incredibly insightful. So it can even be difficult when talking to him and conversing with him to remember, oh, he's only 9, because he's so smart and he knows so much and he knows some really in-depth stuff. And to remember that if he were the youngest of the 4, I wouldn't expect him to be as adult as I do because he's the oldest of the 4. And so I think we have to be careful to find the balance of what's fair to ask you just because you're a member of this family and you're capable of it versus what's unfair to expect of you simply because you're the oldest and older than somebody else in the home.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, and that's true. And there is like you said, there needs to be a balance because I let them be kids. Now, if they
Right. Yeah.
want,
Oh, yeah.
like when I have the oldest ones always want to help me cook because we like what you cook. Can we help you? Can we put that in? Can I break the eggs? Can I do this? And so I will stand back and let them watch them and let them. And there's a couple of times we had to pull some eggshells out of the pot. And I'm like, okay. But like I said, these are not things, what I asked them to do were not things that were beyond their age level.
And I wasn't saying that I thought you were doing that. I wasn't saying that I thought you were doing that. I was just trying to clarify for people that are watching and listening to understand. I know you know the difference because you're like amazing. But I just wanted to point that out for people that are watching and listening that maybe haven't had a whole lot of kids in their care or whatever, just to remember that distinction.
Yes, please.
Very good point.
We have Leah says one of the reasons my kids are ahead of their age with language, talk to them as people. Oh, I don't believe in baby talk. I'm sorry, I don't. Now I may play with them like, oh, you little that I will do every once in a while. But when I'm talking to them, even when I'm changing a child's pamper, I talk to them. I'm like, okay, we're going to change your pamper, and then we're going to snap your shirt back up. And I talk to them. And when I said, okay, we're going to lift your right leg now, we're going to lift your left leg, because I want them to have a sense of, okay, this is the right. I'm always teaching. I'm always talking to teach. And I tell them, okay, going over your head. When I'm pulling their shirt off, I'm like, okay, we're going over your head. And I lift the shirt over their head. Okay, let's put your right arm in. Let's put your left arm in. Let's pull your shirt down. Let's pull your shirt up. So I'm teaching concepts. I'm teaching right and left. I'm always talking. And I use sign language with them too, with the babies, because I work mostly with 18 months and under. So I'm signing with them and I'm talking to them. And so they're learning another language, and it's like all across the board. I'm always teaching. I'm always teaching. I'm always talking. And so when excuse me, when they get old enough to respond, like my 6-month-old, like, I'm going over your head, and she'll lift her head up, like, okay, pull it off. And I'm like, how did you know that? But then I think about it, you're talking to her all the time. And when you say it, you do it. And as you're doing it, I was like, okay, let's lift your head up so we can take it off. And she just all of a sudden started lifting her head up. So if you talk to children as people instead of as you don't know what you don't know what I'm saying. And I remind adults and parents, watch what you say around your children, because at the most inopportune time, they're going to say what you just said. And you'll be looking like, or they'll say something that you said last night, or said they heard you say, and oh, this is a time, let me be seen. And they'll blurt it out. And you're like, and everybody's looking at you like, oh, did your child just say that? Yeah. Where did they hear that from? Oh, they must have gotten it from. when it, in all actuality, they got it from you because of
Mhm.
the language that you use around the kids. That's why I make it a point to, I don't care whether I'm around the kids or not, curse. Because I know if it becomes a part of my language, it's automatically will flow out of my mouth as a part of my language.
Yeah.
And if it's flowing out of your mouth as a part of your language you use every day, the kid's gonna think, oh, it's okay to say that. It's okay to call him this. It's okay to call her that. And they're smart enough to figure out the context in which to use it.
And also the music.
Oh,
Oh, yes, the music. There are some things you can't listen to around your kids. If your child is up there singing, stuff like I'm a, that song, that
mm-hmm.
particular song,
I
and they
don't know what song you're talking about, but okay.
singing it, they're just
I
singing it
hate
at random. You know the song. Well, I don't know if you know the song, but it says if they're using that just at random, and you're like, well, wait a minute now, what you been listening to? Like,
Mhm.
it's
I had a former
okay.
family. I had a former family, and I heard on the monitor one day from their daughter, their sweet, wonderful, easiest toddler ever daughter in her crib singing DNA test turns out. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
Singing her song.
yes.
Okay, I know there was something significant in there, but I missed that because I probably
And I
don't
heard
know
her
that
going,
song.
100%. And I was like, oh my.
Yes.
As much as she could articulate it. And I'm
Articulate.
like, she hadn't listened to that song with me. I said to her mom, I'm like, she goes, yeah, that's my jam.
But mom, can
I
you not
did.
be listening
I
to
did.
Lizzo?
It was the radio edit version, but still, I was like, oh wow, she like, who knew she knew that song that well? And it was adorable. And of course, like, then we're like, hey, like, I just took, and she's like, DNA test. Okay. But yeah, they do. They hear it, and I'm the first to admit when I am not around the children, I'm a potty mouth. Like, but I generally it's like, I mean, in front of with the kids, I'll say something more like "mother flowers," and I have a friend who uses the word waffles, so she'll say "holy waffles," um, to like when something's going to come out and you need something that is not normal language but is not inappropriate. But yeah, you definitely have to watch what they say. And sometimes I had a family years ago, and the mom said to me, well, we found out what you say when someone cuts you off in traffic this weekend. And I was like, what do I say? And I'm trying to like remember, like, oh gosh, what did I say if I forgot her kids were in the car? And she said, yeah, someone cut us off this weekend. And before my husband could let loose with the awful words he usually says, our toddler from the back seat comes out with, you freaking moron. It was like, oh my gosh. Well, thank God it wasn't something worse, but yeah, I should probably be a little more
Probably not
careful
say
when
that
I'm in
either.
the car.
My word is sugar boo. And it's like I can't go wrong with sugar boo because they'll
Right.
think, oh, it's a term of endearment that I call your child.
Well, luckily the parents weren't mad.
Like
They thought it
if,
was hilarious, but
oh
still,
my
I was
gosh.
like, yeah, I need to be a little more careful.
Yes.
So ladies, what advice? I know that the hiring rush is on and people are starting to gather in pods and they're starting to do nanny shares now, more so now than before. And that those kids, those 2 kids from over here and 3 kids from over there, they start to add up. So what advice would you give a nanny who has never worked with more, than 2 or 3 kids at a time? What advice would you give them in seeking when they go to that interview for those kids? What advice would you give them as far as, do I take the job? Do I not take the job? Am I getting in over my head? What advice do you have for them
I think you have to know
before?
your own personal limits.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I know for me, when I have everybody talking and chaos at one thing, for me, that's sensory overload. And so I know when I'm in a home where there's a lot of kids, I know that I have to find ways to communicate with the kids that this needs to settle down for a moment without making them feel like they're doing anything wrong when they're just being kids. But I also need to know that about myself, because if I need to be able to identify when it's too much for me, because otherwise we're just like kids. If we can't identify when we're overwhelmed and we don't have the strategies to cope and manage that, we end up snapping and losing our temper,
That's right.
or saying things that maybe, or handling things with kids, maybe disciplining them for something that doesn't need to be disciplined, right? Like, if you keep running around, then you're going to lose this privilege. And really, that's about me being overwhelmed, not them misbehaving, because they're not misbehaving necessarily. And I also think when there are a lot of children, I have found communication with parents is always important,
Yes.
but I find it even more so with multiple children, especially just to know, like, what are the basic expectations that you have, even just for your house? Like, what do you need your kitchen to look like at the end of the day? Because you've got 4, 5, 6, 7 kids that I'm feeding. Like, are you okay that I'm leaving lunch dishes in the sink until I put the baby down for his afternoon nap, so that I have one less kid that I need to deal with? Because the older kids can sit and talk to me, or they're online in school, or I can set the 4-year-old up with some coloring books, or she can help me wash dishes. Or, like, if it's a family that allows device time, like, we have scheduled device time for a little bit each afternoon. So that's usually when, like, I get the baby down, the kids are on their devices. Now I can go take care of those dishes. Well, I have to communicate with mom that she knows I'm going to get to it, or we need to communicate about schedules. Any change in schedule, like, can throw everybody off, right? Because you get used to a routine or schedule. We have schedules printed for school stuff up on the walls for both boys at their school stations. We have My boss gives me a written monthly calendar. She's got a big one up on her wall in the office, and that's super helpful to know when appointments are that are going to affect my workday. Um, but I think at the heart of it, you just have to know what you're personally capable of, and to be willing to stretch yourself, and also be willing to have those days where you are not going to get downtime. When you've got 4 kids, if one of your jobs is laundry, that's a lot different. That looks a lot different in a house with 4 kids
Ooh,
than in a house
yeah.
with 1 or 2.
Yes.
And it's not just 4 kids is not double the laundry of 2 kids. It's like 10 times the laundry of 2 kids. Um,
Yes.
so
And it's an all week job. It's not just,
yeah,
oh, laundry day is
Oh.
Thursday. No, because by Thursday to Thursday, you got a mountain and you trying to kill that mountain, and you may get halfway to the mountain, and then you try to wait till next Thursday. You got double the mountain. Then
right.
no,
Because
it's
then you got
all it's
towels, and you
all
got sheets, and you
She
got sports clothes,
really
and you've got
close.
pajamas, and you've got, if you have a 3 or 4-year-old, especially little girls, she's probably gone through 7 or 8 outfits on a particular day, just because.
yes.
You got a
Mhm.
baby,
I
you've got
don't like
extra
this
stuff from
anymore. I
blowouts.
need to change. And yeah, and babies having, ooh, Lord, babies having blowouts. Ooh, how many pampers,
But I think,
how many outfits can you go through? Okay,
Yes.
because I
I
take
think
care of
you've
babies
got to
a lot.
know. I think having a sense of humor. I know, like, and my boss and I had a conversation today. Last week was a super stressful week for me personally. Um, and the kids were also had just, all kind of having, so I know I had a shorter fuse than normal. I was a little, like, more stern toned than I needed to be sometimes, probably much more often than I think. And you have to know that sometimes you just, in the middle of all that chaos, you just need to step back and laugh,
Mhm.
right? It helps yourself deal with it. It helps the kids realize, like, it can be so easy with that many kids and trying to juggle all those balls to just forget the delight that you have. Like when I have just one or two kids, it's sometimes just so much easier to just laugh at all the little sassy, quirky things that personalities do at different ages. And when there's 4 or 5 of them doing it, it's a lot easier to go, I can't deal with this. So you have to know how to let go of that and find that joy and stuff. And when you do, it's that much more, because now there's 4 of them making you laugh instead of just 1 or 2.
Right. And that is so important. One of the things that I always try to do is at the end of each day, just being thankful for that time and that moment, and knowing that, every day is a new day, and you cultivate, continue to evolve and cultivate yourself to be better for them for the next day. Preparation is very much key. Sometimes planned activities. I'm a big advocate for either creating an activity on the whim that they may like, or there are some activities that I find that I enjoy. For example, my kids, I've gotten them into this painting by stickers, where it serves as a lesson, but then it also serves as a picture where they have a certain number of painted, like different things, and they fill it in according to always having other activities for them. And also communication with my families about their expectations. I do wholeheartedly agree with that. And making sure that, you're clear on those expectations. But mainly with a lot of the families that I've worked with, I promise you, the company that I work for, they have stretched me, not necessarily because I just may have wanted to, but because they knew something within me was capable. And sometimes even within myself, I kind of am like, oh, I don't know if I could handle all this. But then at the end of the day, I can still be thankful for that stretch. Okay. I can be thankful for the stretch. I can be thankful that, now I have this experience and I know how to handle other experiences, and no experience is the same alike, but I know what to expect and how to deal with it and learn from it and grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Organization. That's one word I'm going to say. Yeah. Organization.
Yeah.
If you are not organized, whew, I don't know if you're going to make it.
That's right.
Because kids do not like to wait. Even under, normal circumstances, they don't like to wait. But if you are unorganized and you don't have the next thing planned and the next thing ready to go, they're sitting there and they're going to get on your last nerve while they're waiting for you. Now, I'm not saying every once in a while you're not going to be prepared. Something will happen and you're like, oh my gosh, I was not expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
But we got through it. The day's done. Okay, I'm still alive, and the kids are still alive. We made it. But on any given day, you need to have, like Tasha said, those extra activities in your pocket. My mom always said, she was a kindergarten teacher. She said, keep a song in your pocket. I have made up songs off of, oh, we're going horse riding. Oh, we're going horse riding. And they're like, oh, yes. And then the kids will start going, oh, it's a way of distracting them. And they'll start singing the horse riding song just right along with me. And we'll just start dancing. And while they're dancing, I'm getting stuff done. I'm like, okay, I was not expecting this. And why is this not in place? And oh my gosh. And they went somewhere over the weekend. I packed the bag ready for Monday morning. They went somewhere over the weekend and used everything in the bag. I get ready to go. Where's my stuff? Why is this bag empty? We have 5 minutes. Okay, we're getting ready to go. And I start singing the Let's Go song while I'm grabbing stuff. Okay, yeah, they'll eat that. Okay, yeah, that. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I got that. And I'm just, I have to replenish what I thought I had. So you always have to have a song in your pocket, distract them, get them, thinking and moving towards the door while you're moving towards the door. Organization. Have a plan, have a backup plan to your plan, and organization. That's
And
my
have
biggest.
flexibility.
And
You got to have
there it
flexibility
is.
with your plan too, because
Yes.
man, you
Yes.
never know when you're like, we are going to go to the zoo and we are going to have so much fun and I'm going to get lunch packed and somebody throws up, or, half the kids just flat out refuse. We
Yeah.
are not going to the zoo today, or, or whatever it is. Like, it's not just a backup plan. You got to have if you're the kind of person who like, you need to make a plan and it has to go a certain way, having lots of kids might not
You won't make it. You
might
won't
not
make
be
it.
the best fit for you. And that doesn't mean that is not a commentary on whether or not someone's a good nanny. It's a matter of knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are and finding the jobs that fit that. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I'm actually really bad with organization, especially in my own home. I have ADHD and I struggle with that. But having kind of a structure to our day at work, and kind of having figured out over the years, like, what the basics are for me. Like, I use my own diaper bag. That works better for me. My employers don't require it of me. I, obviously can use theirs, but it works better for me to have my own because I have developed my own system, right? So I know the very bare minimum of what I need in the diaper bag to get out the door. And some of it stays in there and some of it doesn't, but like, it's there, and I restock it when we get home so
Yep.
that when the day, if we're going somewhere for the day, all I have to put in it is the perishables, right? Like the snacks, the
Right.
sippy cups,
Mhm.
the bottles and formula, like, or breast milk, depending on how a baby's fed, baby food, bib, whatever. But yeah, you
Now,
definitely like, and you have to have a space for everything, right? If you've got one or two kids, the shoe situation looks a lot different if they're in a pile than if you've got 4 or 5 or 6,
yes.
right?
And
Like,
and don't
everybody
let them
needs
be
their own
And
twins
space.
wearing the
making
same
sure that
shoes.
yes, and also making sure that all of those shoes come back to that child. For example, you go to the park and you swinging on that swing, and then all of a sudden you lose the shoe. Yes, you got six of them little beauties, but then you got to make sure, okay, we gonna find this shoe. It turns into a treasure hunt. Trying to make sure that you have all of their shoes,
Yeah.
everything, all the loveys, all the babies that they done brought to the park, because the baby got to go to the park too. You know, all of those things have to come back, and making sure
You're
that you're
nicer than I am. I'm like, we're going to the park to play, and we are not taking the toys with us. If you
well.
can run around at the
They
park,
have
I'll
some,
take bubbles, I'll take jump ropes, I'll take like
yeah.
things, but when I've got that many kids,
I
nope.
know. Then I
The loveys have to stay at home because I'm not looking for the loveys at nap time, and then they get dirty at the park and you have to wash it. And I want my lovey. No, the loveys stay at home. They stay sleeping. They're taking a nap while we're gone,
going.
and that way they can watch over you while you nap. That's the rule. So
Yep.
that's what I. But I remember you spoke about shoes. Now I just had one at this particular time. So it should have been easy. And he had these Crocs, his favorite Crocs. And I didn't know. Somebody bought them for him on Amazon.com and sent them to the house. And these Crocs they were a little too big for him. And he just had to wear them, had to wear them, had to wear them. So we go to the museum and we walk around. We're fine. We're getting back in the car. We're heading home. We get to the house and I take him out and he's limping. Why are you limping? Where is your shoe? Oh Lord, please tell me we didn't leave the shoe at the museum. I said, no. The shoe had gotten lodged. Somehow he kicked it off and it was up under my seat. And there was and I guess when I went to digging and looking for it, put my hand under there, I pushed it up under the towel that was under the seat. I could not find the shoe for 2 weeks. He
Oh,
was
no.
hollering about those shoes. So I went and bought another pair of shoes
Oh, no.
online at Amazon.com. Then I went into a shoe store and saw them for half the price that I paid for them and the same size that he needed. So I was like, man, I could have done this. My husband takes my car that weekend to get it detailed, and they pull, how they pull everything out. Well, guess what was on the seat when he got back home with my car? The child's shoe. It was underneath my seat in my car. I hadn't lost the shoe, but I had spent all this money because these are favorite Crocs, and somebody special to the family bought them, and I'm like, no, I went and bought these shoes, and here the shoe is. So organization.
Organization.
And look under everything, the creases, the crevices between the sides, and look under everything before you go purchasing something. That's
Mhm.
that's the moral of my story. Because
I
I
see,
was
I see someone just commented, Carol Davis commented, I think sometimes the less kids you watch, the less organized one is. When I have more kids, I'm very organized. And Carol, I could not agree more. I feel like I'm the most organized with either one child, because with one child, there's only one kid's things.
Right.
Or with multiple kids, just because I'm forced to, right? But yeah, I definitely agree. I'm just kind of forced into more organization with more kids. And it helps too. I mean, even when it's been families I've grown with from just a couple of kids to more kids, or like my current family, I came into a situation where they already had 4 kids. They already had a well, not fairly good, very good organizational system set up in the house where everybody knows where their stuff goes. And that's incredibly helpful, because then I just have to maintain that and then tweak it as kids get older, or, we move things around in the house. But yeah, you definitely have to.
Yes.
Thank you for watching, Christina. Christina has been with me since almost day one. She used to watch going home from work like she did today. Turn on ask Nanny in the car and just listen on her way home from work as she drove. And then she'd sit in the driveway looking, and they'd be looking at the window at her like, are you going to come in and feed us? She's like, all right, my boys are looking out the window. Gotta go. I'm like, okay. So thanks for joining us, Christina, on your ride home from work. But yes, my last word is, if you're going to go for the jobs with more children, know your limits, set some boundaries, have some you time, some time where you can just breathe, and know that there will be days that everything doesn't go perfect. And if that's what you're expecting, that's the larger number of kids is not for you, because uh, just as sure as somebody walks by and, oh, let's see what this does, and you got a big mess to clean up, and that wasn't in the plan, and everybody's slipping and sliding and whatever. Because I've had oil. They were reaching for something else, and the oil tips over, and somebody comes by. Let's see if I can turn this, and oil's all over the floor, and they're sitting there just kind of the 18, 19-month-old just learn how to. Mom and dad teaching them how to unscrew caps. Why? Why? I'm like, why? So just know that you're going to have the patience of Job, and you are going
Yes.
to you will be tested.
And
And
I think we also, and we know too, like, I think we all know as nannies, how deeply and intensely and unconditionally we end up loving somebody else's kids.
yes,
And the more kids, the more love. And so as much as it can be more chaotic or messier or harder, for lack of a better word, with all those little souls and personalities to care for, there's that much more laughter and cuddles and joking around and that many more amazing little humans to connect with and have those relationships with. Because there's a lot of joy in it too. I feel like we talked about all the things that make it harder, but it also can just be wonderful. Like there's always somebody who wants to snuggle, and there's always somebody willing to joke around and to share a laugh about something, or to snuggle and read a story, or to play a game, or something like that. So
or the
just
kids
remember
that
that.
believe, that hug on,
Yes.
that do not want to.
Don't leave me. I'm like, baby, I got to go.
I got the
I'm coming back. I promise you, I'm coming back. And the ones that you have to literally just kind of push off of you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And you give them to mom, and they're like, and I'm
Right.
like, and it saddens me. I mean, it saddens me because I know mom and dad are probably feeling some kind of way. You want to go with her, but you want to stay here with us? And it makes me happy because, oh, he loves it. And it's like my heart is breaking because I'm leaving you crying, but my heart is happy because I know you want me here.
Right.
So it balances out. I
Yeah.
promise you. All
Right.
those
Like
little rubber kisses that they give you on your jaws, and you end up going like, okay,
Okay.
I love you.
it's just that
It
many
is
more kids
all
to
worth
say
it.
you're the best,
Mm.
and
Yes.
as much as it might be that many more kids that have the potential for a meltdown in any given day, it's that many more kids
Mhm.
who say you're the best in the whole world.
And
And that
all the
was kind of how my
flowers you
afternoon ended
collect,
today, so I'm on a high from that.
especially
But
if
you
you're
know what?
going out playing in the park and there's like a grassy area, and what are those little white flowers that the bees always
Oh,
hang
yeah.
on?
Yeah,
Mhm.
those little clover flowers.
I had just a bouquet of them. Oh, did you get my flowers? Don't drop my flowers. And I'm like, I got them. I got them.
Hold
And we get home, put them in some water. Okay, now how's your mom and dad gonna come come to the kitchen and fill up with me? Here's a glass. No, we don't want to use mama's favorite coffee cup for
on.
this. So I love those moments, and especially
Yeah.
the homemade gifts that they give you when I mean the
Pictures they
pictures,
draw.
and it's just like, my refrigerator is still full, and I haven't had a kid old enough to draw in a long time, but my refrigerator is still full of handprints and drawings, and I keep them. And whenever we move, I have one side of the refrigerator that's my art gallery for my babies, and I just kind of flip them up and down, and but I have my art gallery wherever I go.
I still have a
So
sign on my door that has my name on it with like it all outlined and like all these different colors and all this stuff all over it. And it's from a family I worked 4 years ago for almost 6 years. And the three kids, they had a son and then twin girls who are 22 months younger than he is. And my last summer with them, they worked. One day they just worked all three kids worked really hard together to make this sign for me. And it's still on my bedroom door. And they were 5, 5, and 7 when they made that, and they are 13, 13, and 15 now, and they still come for sleepover. They come for a sleepover every summer, and they all, as soon as we get in my apartment, find a reason to like go sneak and make sure it's still on my bedroom door, and it's still there.
yes, 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 yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, ladies, for joining me tonight and for giving us some of the sneak peeks. Uh, I'm sorry, I just saw a comment. Patsy says, exactly, Lovey has to rest too. I just saw that comment. I don't know how I missed that. But yes, it's thank you all for sharing your experiences, sharing your tips and your advice with us, because I know there's going to be a lot more nannies that are going to be hired because people are starting to go back to work or they're staying home at work and realizing I can't do all of this and work from home and school them and all this other stuff. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for being awesome, awesome, awesome nannies.
Well, and
Because
thank
it
you for
takes
all
special
you
nannies.
Thank
do.
you for all you do.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
you
thank
do
you.
so much for the nanny community, and we're so lucky to have you, Angela.
It
Thank
is much
you.
appreciated.
Oh, and before I go, I am, well, you can buy them from anywhere. I am doing a hosting a giving or Nanny Cello's giving, and I have chosen a charity. It's called uh, Books and Pajamas, and you can donate new books and new pairs of pajamas because their philosophy is if the child has a good night, they have a good morning. So if you want to donate books, I'm going to be posting it up probably in a few minutes. I ran out of time before I got online, but I'm going to be posting in a few minutes. It's we're having we're going to meet at what is it called, Sweet Eats Farm, and they have a pumpkin patch, and they have hay rides, and they have a tire slide, and they have um, oh, what is it? They have the strawberry salsa.
Ooh.
It looks
Ooh.
good. Even though I'm allergic to strawberries, it's cooked so I can eat it. So they have a lot of things, and then they have spots around the. It's like 4.5 acres of land. They have a corn maze. If you've
Oh,
never been in a corn maze, they have a corn maze. It's huge. And they give you a map of the whole area. So they have like little stations set up. There's food trucks there. There's live music there. So we're going to meet on October the 21st. It's in Georgetown, Texas. It's called Sweet Eats Farm. And if you want to join me there, you can. If you just want to donate some pajamas or donate a book, I'm setting up a wish list on Amazon. And so to make it easy for you, I'm doing ages 0 to 5. So all the books and the pajamas that will be there will be specifically for ages 0 to 5. So you can just purchase it and they'll send it and I can just add it to the pile. And all donations are due in by October the 31st because I have to turn them in that by November 2nd. Yeah. So I want to make sure that if you're sending it, to have it in the mail by October the 31st so it can get to me in time to have it turned in by November the 2nd or the 4th, one of those. Anyway, the first part of November. So if you want to participate, just hit me up or send something to Amazon. If you need the address, contact me. If you want to make a donation, you can go on their website and make a donation. But that's the charity that I've chosen to participate in with Nanny Cello's Giving. So we're giving back to, I figured, giving back to the kids.
Yeah,
So.
that sounds like a wonderful, wonderful program.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how long it's been going on, but Nanny Kim on the Go was the one who introduced me. We were up until like 2:30 this morning. Okay, so I added this book. Oh yeah, I'm gonna add that one to my list too. Oh, I like this book. And we were posting it on Canva, making flyers and things for this. So, and I was just like, I can't. I need a nap. So please be generous and give. If even if it's just a little board book, or if you have brand new books and you want to drop them off at the pumpkin patch, please come and join us. We're going to have fun, 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 and everything except for the food trucks is included in admissions. Admission is $16. You get all the games and the pumpkin, and they usually have fruit picking there, but this year that because of COVID, they're not having a fruit picking. So anyway, somebody's phone is ringing. So
I'm sorry.
I will let you ladies go. And thank you again for joining us. And for those of you who are watching, thank you for watching us. And we will see you all. It's Monday. And we will talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.